Hello, we are back for a new session with Alexis and Firmin. Hi guys, how are you?
Hey Quentin, doing great.
So we're going to talk about how to align product development and business objectives. So we are pleased to have Alexis, who is the co-founder of Dashlane, but he's currently working on Stonely, so as a founder and CEO. And we have Firmin, co-founder and CEO at Payfit. So thank you guys for taking the time to be with us this morning. So maybe I let you introduce the topic and yourself. And if people have questions during the talk, feel free to ask in the chat. Alexis and Firmin will take the time to answer the question at the end of the presentation. So thank you guys.
Thanks, Quentin.
Thanks, Quentin. And thanks for having us. Welcome, everyone. Very pleased to be there with Alex to talk about the link between product and business. Maybe I can give you a short overview about Payfit. First, Payfit was founded in 2015 with two other co-founders and myself. We are automating and digitalizing payroll for SMBs in Europe. So we enable companies with 5, 50, a few hundred employees to make pay slips, make payroll online. We are operating and serving thousands of businesses in France, in Spain, in Germany, in the UK, and quite recently in Italy. We are doing payroll, but also HRIS management system. You can think about onboarding processes, absences, expenses, all that you need to manage your employees when you are running a small business. And today, Payfit is a company with 500 employees, 500 Payfitters. So we've experimented pretty fast growth since the beginning.
And just a couple of introduction about myself. I co-founded Dashlane. Dashlane is a password manager. Has around 15 million users today. It was founded 10 years ago, and I think 250 employees. The idea is to simplify your digital life by having one place where you can secure all your personal data and having to enter it every time you are online. Automating that, making you more secure and faster online. I left the company 2 years ago to build a new company called Stonely. Stonely is a tool to help companies building better interactive onboarding and support experience instead of having a flat article. Whenever you want to have information about a company, you can have experiences modules. So it's kind of building a no-code experience for your customers when it comes to onboarding and support. We are a much smaller company. We are at 16 right now. We raised our seed round beginning of this year, and are happy to work with companies on everything related to customer success. So we've prepared some questions with Firmin, and we're going to answer first our own questions about the topic. The idea is that we have a couple of lead, Firmin and I, and I guess for each we'll then give our side or our view on this. So if that's okay with you, Firmin, I can start with the first one.
Yes, perfect. Great.
Cool. So as Firmin said, the idea is to talk really about what is the relationship between the product and the business. And so one thing that I really like to think about when talking about this is how you can identify the key requirements of product from company stakeholders. The thing is that if you ask people what a good product is in your company, you can try this. Everybody would agree on some things that are easy. Has the job to be done, it has to do it with an elegant solution that everybody agrees on. But then if you ask people internally, what do they expect from the product? Then you're going to have different answers depending on the people. if you ask your CFO, she's gonna care about LTV, average booking per user, payback. Is going to be the key metric for them. The CMO are more going to be about early retention, down to accounts, monthly impressions, how they can help creating a story around the product. The dev team will care about performance, scalability. The user support will care about the ticket, the self-service resolution rate, and maybe the sales about kind of a feature set that help them sales better. And this is very important to understand that in your company, because when you're working on the product, you cannot work in a silo only on your features all the time. You have to work with other people and strategize what you are doing, not only based on what you want to do, but based also on what people are expecting from the product to deliver. And you can see it in two ways. You can see it as a constraint, being like, oh, okay, well, I would like to work on my stuff and I have to adjust to the other things. Or you can consider it as actually input that can help you creating a better product. You know, when the dev team is talking about performance, yeah, performance is very important for the dev team, but it's also actually useful for the users. Having less number of tickets when it comes to support and improving this, fixing the major issues, that's also something that leads you to a better product. When you are trying to work on the early retention, it's also how you can take the messaging that is sold by your marketing team and creating a consistent experience throughout the funnel and in the beginning. And all this is basically having kind of data points that are more qualitative from your team members to try and improve your product, while also making it easier to have a better relationship internally and sell kind of what you are doing, get people excited internally about what you are doing. That's kind of my first point about how you can align yourself with the different stakeholders.
Thanks a lot, Alex. Cannot agree more with that. Each people in the company has a different perception, and given the phases of the company you are in, it's not the same perception of the link between product and business. It's really easier when there are 3, 5, 10 people in a room or in a company to get along well with each other and to have a great vision of the product, the vision, and the roadmap. It becomes much more complicated, and you've lived that, Alex, at Dashlane, when you have maybe 500 people in different countries with different products, with different segment of customers. It becomes much more complicated. So maybe I can give you some insights about this roadmap process. How do we build a roadmap? What are the key challenges? First thing that is important is that there's always a tension between the vision and the features. When you are a founder or a member of, let's say, the executive committee in a fast-growing company, you're more talking about vision, long-term, let's say, a plan for the coming 18 months, rather than some improvements and some features. And the thing that is complicated is to make those two words live together. The word of vision, of long term, and the word of day-to-day, of features, of improvement, of small things that will make your product really what it is. And this is one thing that is hard and important to have in mind. It's not it's not the founders or the top management that are going to drive the roadmap and decide on everything. That's not from the top to the bottom, and that's not just some iterations on your product thanks to your designers or your product managers or engineers bottom up that are going to lead you to a great product in the long term. So you need both, and you need to reconcile that. It's really like fueling the roadmap from product and from business. You'll always have engineers that want to refactor the code base, designers that don't think it's perfect to be in production, but also sales that just want the feature, even if it's scrappy, or your customer care managers that just want to serve and give love to your customers. So as Alex said, there are different personas, and you need to find the right balance with that. One thing that is interesting to help find this balance while choosing and making choices for your roadmap is to have a great product dashboard with data, with analysis, making sure that everyone in the company know which feature is used by which customer, to what extent, what is the evolution. For example, at Payfit, is the expense feature used by our smaller customers, and who is using it, how many employees. So this is very, very important to have very early those data that can fuel the roadmap. And the last thing about the roadmap is you always hear about guys that want to ship fast, especially in business departments, and the ones that prefer quality, especially on the product department. And once again, this is just a balance you need to find between the two, because you don't want to just spend all your time, on quality, because in the end, you may want some years after to rewrite everything. That happens quite often, and you don't want to have a product full of bugs. So it's all about balance when you're talking about roadmap.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with this. This is something that you cannot. There's no way you're gonna have everybody happy at the same time. And it's actually one thing that I've done. I don't know. I cannot tell you if it's successful or not, but I can give you kind of can share some feedback. At Dasha, at some point, I was trying to have cycles. You have a cycle where you are going to build a lot of features. And actually, when you build a lot of feature, adding a ton of things to your product, people get bored at some point that they cannot improve the overall quality. They feel like, okay, well, we're building things on top of things on top of things, and it doesn't make sense. We need to take time and to slow down. And that's fine, because then you can take some time to do this. And be in a period where you are going to optimize, be in a period where you're going to start taking a step back on the analytics and see what's working, what is not working. And at the end of this cycle, you're going to have also people bored saying like, hey, we're not innovating enough. We're not creating new things. We should get back to building new features. And so you can keep that tension from one cycle to another. So in a sense, you can say that nobody's ever happy, but it's just life. But at the same time, you kind of keep that willingness of understanding and pushing the pressure on one hand to another. I think also when you're building roadmaps and so more at a strategic level, it is very important to take into account, and based on what I was saying earlier, in a sense, what is going to be important for everyone if you want to rally everyone around big release or around big projects. Sometimes it's not because you're working on something that is going to be great for sales that it cannot be great for marketing as well. You need to understand how their goal in terms of messaging, in terms of acquisition, could be linked to a new features that you are going to build. And when you are talking to the product, you can also take this opportunity sometimes to say, okay, well, we are going to add a new feature on this, but wait, we're also going to take this opportunity to improve that current feature and refactor that small part. We cannot refactor everything, but we're going to refactor that small part. So you're trying to find also, and I think that's what Firmin was saying, it's striking the balance. You should also try to find opportunities for everyone to be happy in what you are doing. And when you are, it's very important when you are building something that you don't need everyone to agree on the strategy, but you need everyone to at least understand and have something that is important to them. Know that they are not push back, and that you care about them. Another topic I wanted to talk about is the prioritization of new feature versus maintenance versus optimization. This is something that is going to evolve a lot in the life of your company. When you start, you're working on the core product, and during the first years, you are going to work on the core product. Then you're gonna start having customers, whether you're on B2B or on B2C. Actually, it doesn't change, and you're gonna start having customer requests. People want more things. Some things that are good because they are making your product better, and some things that are too specific to be added to your product. And then you have to make choices. Do you want to build something just for one customer because it's a very important customer, even though you know that it's not going to be something that is going to be widely used? Usually you don't know, actually, because when you have the first big customer asking you for something, you're like, okay, well, I don't know if other customers will have that need or not. That's something that you need to take into account. And there is also the maintenance of all your current customers. At some point, you're going to arrive at, hopefully not too early, but you're gonna arrive at a point where basically taking the time to just maintain what you have and make sure that the people that are using your product can continue to use it as they scale and as you scale is going to take you a lot of time. And on this, there is there's a moment that is very frustrating, where you have the feeling that you are, in a sense, spending half the time working on opportunities, half of the time working on maintenance and quality, and you have almost no time to innovate. So here again, striking the balance is very important. But I would say one thing that I've noticed that is a very big difference for me in my two companies, Dashlane and Stonely, is that, well, I've got more experience with Stonely, so now I'm doing things in advance. And one of the things that is very important in what I'm doing now is I'm investing a lot early on everything that can be automated. So automated testing, for instance, is a biggie for me. The third person that was hired at Stonely was a QA engineer, and the woman that is in charge of this, of course, we didn't have a lot to test at this point. So what she did is that she built the whole infrastructure for us to be able to deliver continuously, to make sure that every time something is committed, we have a bunch of automated tests that are run. And it allows us to have a higher velocity because we hotfix a lot less than I used to be in my former company. When we release something, it's usually a lot better. And I think it's not a question of quality of design and everything. That's, in a sense, a different topic. Here, we're really talking about bugs, but things that you ship something and 1 week later you have an issue that you had not caught, and a customer comes to you saying this thing is not working, and you have to go back to switch the topic you're working on, to go back to something else, to take an old branch and to fix it. That is taking a lot of time. Everything that you can anticipate to try to keep a level of quality for one release to another is something that is it's a great investment, because it's going to help you as you scale, continuing having the capability to invest in your core product. And that is something that I think is key for me. One thing here that I kind of regret, in a sense, during my time at Dashlane, is I think at some point, as a product person, I was focused too much on the optimization, making the funnel conversion work, compared to always continuing working on the vision and having at least a dedicated group of people that were working on this. I'm not saying that you can always work on the vision. I'm saying that if you stop working on it at all, it is taking a huge toll on the future of the company, because then you have to re-engage the engine. So if you are able to find yourself in a situation where you don't abandon things, you plan in advance, so you are able to make things gradually, and you keep a sensitivity to what is the innovation? What is the vision? What is the next big thing that makes you different? What is your single competitive advantage that you want to build for the future, so that even if competitors start catching up with the last innovation you have, you are always in advance and you always have something that they won't have. That's something I would say is very important to me as I'm building a new company now.
Thanks, Alex. And topic that we wanted to address is about communication, because we both think that it's key so that product and business can work together to have the right communication. It's a vast topic, but I think that one thing that can help you is about product marketing. I know that in the US, it's well admitted that very early you need product marketing to make your startup work. In France, in other countries in Europe, it's less common because we don't have so many profiles that are working on product marketing in Europe compared to the US, and they are coming quite late in the companies. Often when you have more than 100 employees. And at Payfit, our first product marketer came when we were 70 or 80, and that was great, but a bit late. And now, it's a team with 5 people, and it's putting a lot of energy, and it's helping a lot everyone in the company. Product marketing is a dual function. It's product marketing. So there's always this question whether this needs to be under product or under marketing, because you need to choose in which department you can put this. At Payfit, we chose marketing, but that doesn't matter. You just need to be clear with that and make the right choice for your company and your people. Product marketing is important because they will take your product and make it sound nice to your customers, to your prospects. So they have an external communication standpoint, and they also need internally to be the advocate of the product and to make it understandable by everyone in the company, by the business team, by the sales, the customer care, the other engineers, HR people, finance people. So this is really a role that is divided in two, like a communication for the outside and communication inside. I think that I can spend a bit more time on the internal role. When you are working at a company and you are selling a product, it's very important to understand that your life or your work is all about this product. You cannot work as a customer care. You cannot work as a salespeople if you don't know the product. It's like your tool, what you are using, what you are debugging for your customers, what you are selling to your customers. So you need to know your product, and for that, the communication with the product teams, thanks to product marketing, can be super useful. It's very important also to understand that as the company gets bigger, remember, you're no longer 5, 10, 15 in the room. When the founder talk about all the product choices, it's very clear for everybody. You just have 50 customers. As you grow, there will be tensions, as Alex pointed out. Not everybody can be happy, and you need to drive confidence in your company thanks to product. You need to make people in the company understand where your product is going, how it will serve better and better your customers, how it will be a driver for growth to acquire more and more customers. And for that, you need product marketing. You need to have very clear messages. You need to have rituals. You need to have a product keynote. For example, we have them every quarters. You need to have each and every month a report sent to the whole company about the features that have been released, the ones that are going to come, and the data the usage of those features by customers. It's the role of product marketing, and it's also the role, of course, of people working in the product department. So if you have a CPO, a CTO, all the VPs, can be engineering, design, product management. It's their role, to make the company trust the product directions, the features that are going to arrive. And last thing about communication, I really think that people in the business department have a great role to play in communication too. I remember when we were like 10 in the company, talking to the salespeople that I'm trusting the product, I'm trusting people building on the product, and that's how we can sell it. Otherwise, there's no point in selling some bullshit that is not working. And as you grow, I think it's important that leaders in product departments have this face toward product, like product has this face with business. But really, the role of communication is so important. There's what you do and the product that you build, and that's also how you communicate to your customers, your prospects, your employees about that, for the present and the future. That's super important, and couldn't be neglected, especially if you have a very rational, let's say, engineering mindset, quite logical, where you can think at first that only what you do matters. Communication is super key to bring some magic internally and externally about your product. Another topic that is linked to the communication, but that's the sales topic. How do you sell? How do you sell the product? To whom? With who? So one thing that is funny is that when we started PayFit, I was 22. It was my first job experience, and I never had to sell a product. And I was born in France, not in the US. So when you are at school, you don't learn, how to sell everything. And the one thing that was key for me to find the first 10, 50, 100 customers so that they can trust us to manage their payroll was that I participated in building the product during a year, coding our own programming language, and I had a faith, like I couldn't believe more than the product that I was selling to those prospects, to those CEOs, founders, was not going to change their lives. And so I was just talking about the product, not without any sales tricks, because I didn't know them. So I just needed to talk about the product that we had and see a founder, an HR, a CEO, and tell her that it will make her life different. And that was it. I had stars in the eyes just because of the product. And I'm talking about sales, but this was just about the product. And even now, when you have 100 salespeople, product marketing, a lot of things, training, a lot of things that is helping real sales guys to sell products to prospects, it's super important to have this confidence, this trust from the sales guys about the product, because in the end, that can make one given salespeople 30, 50% better than without that. So that's very, very important. Another thing is that when you are talking to customers and prospects, you are selling your product, but you are also selling your roadmap, because when you are small, your product evolves quite fast. Or at least I hope so. And you need to make prospects understand and trust you that the product that they are using and buying now will be different in a year, in 2 years, and 3 years. So when your customer buy your product, it buys also the evolution of the product in the coming years. So you need to be clear about that. The last point about this topic is the choice you often need to make between custom or standard. Whether you are serving SMBs or enterprise, it's not the same choice, and you can be serving both. At the beginning, Payfit, we didn't know about that. We had customers from 1 to 1,000 employees, and soon the bigger customers that we had were telling us to build this and this and this feature, because this is really not the same to manage payroll for 500 employees or for 5. So the product is different, and the willingness of about features of customers is different. And so you need to be really clear on your strategy if you want to standardize and have, for example, a product for very small companies, self-serve. Every features the features are the same for everybody. Or if you want to start building some stuff for a given customer, the first time that you are building a feature for just one customer, you need to ask yourself, do I really want to get into that path, into that strategy, and become enterprise and have less agility and serve less customers that are bigger and that will have very specific needs? There's not the good that are serving SMBs, bad enterprise. On the contrary, it's just something that you need to be very clear on as a product leader, as a founder, and then tell your company about that. For example, for us at Payfit, it was really clear that we couldn't serve companies ranging from 1 to 5,000 employees. It's really too large. So we decided to really focus on companies from 1 to 100 employees and serving the best as we can some companies above 100.
I had a funny experience when I was at Dashlane, because Dashlane started as a B2C product. Now it's B2C and B2B product. And when we made that choice to go to B2B, it was mainly as kind of an expansion. So we had optimized the product a lot for B2C, and we had a lot of people that were using it at work and were asking us like, hey, but I have a team. Is there a way that I can put my team into the product and things like this? And so my first, as a stupid product person, my first idea was like, yeah, it's simple. We're going to build a admin console, and you'll be able to buy licenses, and you'll be able to invite people, and that's it. You have a B2B product. And that's where I started to hear for the first time about things like, provisioning and single sign-on and things that are expected from you when you are building a B2B product. And then so the people that came to us, there were some that we were lucky in a sense because they were inbound, because they were our customer base, and people that were already using the product at personal level that wanted to adopt it for their company. But we had people that were working in very small companies, some in bigger companies. And then we started having companies that were doing RFP. And on the RFP, there were a ton of things that we didn't have because our product had not been built for this at the beginning. And we really had to make the choice about, okay, do we spend the time catching up on this, or do we focus on smaller companies for which we believe our product might be more ready right now? And at that point, we took the same decision that you did at Payfit. We said, okay, well, we are going to say no to some companies. And that's something that is very important too, is that, and all to play in this, making it understandable that sometimes you have to say no to opportunities. You have to say no to some features that, yes, they would be great to have, but there are a couple of, there are plenty of features that would be great to have. And at some point when you're doing your roadmap, you need to be able not only to prioritize a feature, but to prioritize a strategy versus one another, so that you don't end up being in a loop where you always have to ask the question again and again and again, should we do this, should we not do this? You need to have clear guidelines. One last topic I want to talk about is more about people. And so one is about the culture and how you actually build a product culture, which is not mandatory. I mean, to me, I'm a product person. So of course, my companies, they are really product oriented, but I've seen great companies but the product is one thing, but this is not the main thing. This is part of the company, and that's it. For me, this is the quality of the product is very important. So instead of having to ask the question all the time about, okay, what is okay, what is not okay, we know that the quality of the product is something that we'll care about. The reason why it's important, I would say the main reason why it's important is recruitment. Because you want to hire people that believe in this culture, and that will fit right in that culture. It's very hard to hire someone and that is going to be unhappy with this, and then trying to here and there say, okay, it's gonna work by itself. It never works by itself. It's like communication. You were talking about communication from earlier. I think one thing that's very important is the scaling effects. You said you cannot take decision at 5 the same way you can take a decision at 50, 100, but it's also what people are not aware of things, and communication is not happening like this. It's like you have to it's a constant effort to communicate, to have with people dedicated to it, like product marketers, to have people that are communicating with the people. And the culture is the same. You cannot think that culture is going to grow and happen because you are hiring here and there. No, you have at some point when you hire, you need to think about the culture fit. Are these people going to be the right people for the culture of the company? And it's true in terms of the type of person that you hire, but it's also true in terms of how fast you are going to hire some of the profiles. I told you about the QA person that we hired very fast, and product marketing is the same. At Dashen, I think the first product marketer we had, we were around 14 in the company. At Stony, we were 11. And well, funny thing is that he's an American living in Paris, but it's true that it's harder to find product marketers in France. But this is something that is growing, like everything. Product also is growing a lot in France. You find great talents now in France, and try to take a step back. If you're at a stage where you are 10 to 15 employees, try to take a step back and think about whether you not only you have people for now, but you might have people for later. To me, if I had to think about 3 type of people that are very important, I would say QA for sure. I mean, again, depending on your culture, you've got plenty of companies that don't work with QA, and that's fine too. Product marketing is one, and analytics is also one. Do you want to have a culture around analytics or not? Because you can hire people to work on data when you have scaled. You can say, okay, when I have data, I will hire someone and wait up to be 50 to 100 to do this. But the question is it going to be part of your culture if you do this, or is it going to be someone that is going to be a contributor? And even if that person hires a team, it's still going to be a contributor. If you hire that person earlier, that person is going to build the engine, the different engine of the data tracking and everything that is going to be part of the mindset of everyone. Saying like when we take a decision, we actually look at the data that is behind it, and we make these choices based on and the strategies or choices based on the data. We just hired our head of data, and that's was the 16th person that we hired. And to me, if I had found the person earlier, I would have hired that person earlier. But it's very, very important to have that key role. And I think that concludes it, at least for the part where we talk without answering any question. I think there is a first question about localization. We might have different experience in this. Your experience, Firmin, I think is very cool because your product is actually, I guess, different from for different country, right?
Maybe I can take this one. It's not a classical SaaS product. Salesforce, Zendesk, they are not so localized. Here at Payfit, we're very, very, very localized because you can imagine that the tool that you need to process payroll in Spain is not really the same in the UK or in France. So what we have is that in each country, we have local product teams. So for example, in France, we have 22 people that are product builders for France, that are engineers that know how to code with our language, the Jetlang, that are payroll experts, and that are building the French payroll product. Same thing in Germany with 8 people, in Spain with 5 people, and they are really working on local basis on the payroll product. And then we have a global product department with 100 people, where you can find designers, product managers, engineers that are working both on giving the product builders that are local the ability to code. So think about the architecture, the essence of the language, etc. And also features that are global and not so localized, like HRIS, expenses, time management, etc. So it's a quite complex and unusual organization for a product team, but given the market we are in, we were forced to innovate with this.
For us, it's a bit different. We are a more classic SaaS business that you can use pretty much anywhere in the world. But the thing is that our customers, they have customers that are also everywhere in the world. So having the issue for us was less about localizing our product because that is something that is if you think about it at the beginning, it's really easy to do, but it was also to take into account the specificities for our customers to do this, the other guys. One simple example is right to left languages that we had to adapt not only the language but really the UI so that if you have customers that have right to left languages, you can still build your content for both. And there are also, we have customers that need to have different types of content based on their localization because it's not only about translation, it's just about things that are working differently. And for this, we are building, inside our product, we're building things so that you have different level of flexibility. First one is, of course, just translating, but then it's also deciding what you can put for each, not only each language, but also each country, so that you can have different type of content based on the different country you're in. There's a question about what are the main skills you should assess when hiring your first product manager. That's a very good question. I think it depends a lot on who you are personally. I am a product person, so the first product manager that I hired, she was not a product person. She was actually part of the team that was organizing B2B Rock in the previous year, and she was working in an accelerator with Axeleo, and she was more in the business and venture ecosystem more than the product. So what I assessed when I hired her was the grit. What does she want to do? How can she progress? How I can train her to make her becoming a great product manager, because I didn't need someone that was going to come to take over the vision of the product, or to start leading everything on the product. That person would have been unhappy with me. I would have been an asshole with that person. And I needed someone that wanted to, had the ability to learn and the willingness to learn. And by that, the willingness to work very hard. So basically what I assessed is, I assessed what the person knew at the beginning. So whether that person will have the mindset to be able to understand not only the product, but what is around, everything we talked about. And what I liked about that person is that she had a very good understanding about what matters outside of the product. She had a business mind, so she knew what was working. I needed someone that was able to take feedback very well, and so I gave her a take-home test that she did. She worked a lot on it, so that was a pretty good sign. And I think when she arrived, she presented it to me, and she saw that it was going to be very, very, very good. And I spent I think half an hour explaining her why it was very, very bad, and looking at her reaction about it, because you have people, there's a culture fit about like someone who's going to say, no, but see, I've seen that, and someone is going to take the feedback and being able to work with you to improve and to get to the next level. That's something that is very important for me. And someone that is able to, someone you are able to have discussion with. And then you need to have people, to me, it's very important to have people skills, meaning that person was going to be, and is now, the person that is in communication with everyone in the company every time we're working on a new feature, gathering the importance of the feature and the requirements from the developers. And so someone that you know is going to get along with the team also in terms of culture fit. So that person, I'm not the only one that interviewed her. She talked to 6 people, and for a small company, that's a lot, because I wanted to make sure that people would actually enjoy working with her, and that she would enjoy working with people.
Yeah, last question. What is the role of design for product and business development for you? That's a good question. And design function was implemented pretty late at Payfit. I think that for product, it can just make all the other teams, product managers and engineers on the right path as fast as we can, and they can make a lot of people save a lot of time by doing the right thing, the first time. Not having, for example, engineers that are working on problems without them being designed before. So they are really a time saver for product people, and they make people do things really better than without them. For business development, for sales people, customer success people, you can see the design function as someone that is going to really understand the customer, but not let's say from a human perspective, but really, from a very functional perspective, and that is going to build the right experience, the right functionality at the right moment, and that is your as a sales customer success. This is your advocate with engineers and product managers, and so that's why it's so important that people in design functions are talking to customers as much as some sales or customer success.
I think you were talking about selling the roadmap. Also, I don't know for you, but for me, I also sometimes show screens that are not implemented yet, but that are designed. And same as the other one, it's great where when you have a designer, don't ask him to design a screen, ask him to design a structure, a pattern that is reusable. So that's okay. There is a button. care of all the declination of the button. Every time you use a button, you have this so that people don't have to think about it. So you don't want them to just build a button for a specific case.
Thank you, Gabe. I think we are running out of time. We still have a few questions, but maybe how could people reach out to you if they have like any more questions to ask you, Gabe?
Yeah, don't hesitate. Email, can write it down to you if you have any question. Really, don't hesitate.
Yes, it's same for me.
Thank you.
And entry is also at Alexis Fogel. So
perfect.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Quentin.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Alex. Thanks, Quentin. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
So,
bye-bye.
If you still have questions, you can reach out to them. So you have the email address in the chat section. So thanks again for the discussion.
Thanks a lot.
We're gonna take a break for the lunch, and we will be back in 50 minutes with Pierre Canek from Genji. So make sure to be back in almost an hour. Enjoy the lunch break.